Hello.
We're live.
Yeah, it probably works fine.
And here we are.
Adam,
Let's see.
we're live.
Well, it's
Oh, we are live. Well, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts, where I plug in my headphones to make them work. Now I'm going to start coughing. Man, this is going downhill quickly. Chris, take over.
He's dying. He's dying. Man down. Google got him.
yeah.
All right, I'm back. I just had to toss that real quick before I totally lost it there and started blowing people's eardrums out. Man. All right, well, welcome everybody to the bumpiest Hump Day Hangout start in a while. This is episode 314. Today is the 18th of November 2020. And this is the one, too, where Hernan screams at us to let him in. So hopefully he'll be joining us before too long. We do have some announcements to get into before we start answering questions. And I am just pulling up the page. Looks like we have got a lot of questions today, so try to keep this short and get into it, but real quick, going to say hi to everybody and then answer the questions after the announcement. So Marco, you're wearing a different shirt, man. You're looking good today. What's going on?
You know, I have to break out my vintage shirts once in a while, man. You know, got to keep them guessing. I'm in the tropics today. I'm in a tropical mood. So here we are. You know, it's still my fortress of solitude. I am, as I always say, where I choose to be, not where I have to be, and I do what I want to do, not what I have to do. So it's a really good place to be and wake up every morning understanding where my POFU is and how I'm going to get to being able to break it down so that it's also a process. We're the process guys, right? And we build processes and systems. And so POFU, like in my mind, as I start explaining and as I start expanding, since the inception of the POFU idea, it's now a process of getting to the point where you want to be, whatever that is. Don't let me define it for you. Like I'm gonna quote C.T. Fletcher: "Fuck impossible." Don't let somebody define your impossible. You decide what it is you're going to do. You break it down so that you can get there. If it's a huge goal. Okay, I want $1 billion. I'll give you an example. Well, the only way to make $1 billion is $1 at a time. If you start out, I'm going to make $1 billion. There's nobody in this world that's going to pay you $1 billion unless you come up with the ultimate, another Amazon, right? Another way to create that. Nobody's going to give that to you. But you start building on it. You make $100, you make 1,000, you make 100,000, however it is that you're going to get there. But if you start out with that goal of $1 billion, it's not a goal. It's an idea. It's a dream. It's a wish. Maybe someday I could. And you'll never do shit because it's too big. But if you break it down and you start working and you do the do, people don't take that the right way. Doing the do. Oh, that's funny and it rhymes and it's Mountain Dew and all that crap, right? Retro and all that shit. No, it's a fucking mindset where you wake up every morning. You do. Now here it is. You do what you have to do, because that's what you want to do. You twist it. Okay, I have to do it, but I enjoy it because it's part of what I want to do. Yeah, I got to do it. I have to get up in the morning. We all have to get up in the morning. If I choose to stay in bed, I can stay in bed. I'll have to get up. I got kids. You know how that goes, man. People, it's a lot of it is common sense, but like Gordon Ramsay said, I can't teach that. That's common sense. It's one of his gifs, right? I can't teach that. Common sense. Guys, a lot of this is just common sense. You can't make $1 billion until you make that first dollar. I'll leave it at that.
Fair enough. Yeah, don't be an idiot sandwich. One step at a time,
Yeah.
$1 at a time. Oh man. Well, Bradley, how you doing, man? We got you on video, so I guess the technical hurdles are over with.
Yeah, what a mess that is every week.
I like it. Adds a little bit of spice to the start. Never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
How you
it's
doing
good.
today?
I'm good. Happy to be here. I've been super busy this week and plan on being super busy for the next several weeks. So,
fair enough. And you've been working with a small group, right? From the not just the mastermind, but some people from POFU Live, right? Doing some real estate stuff.
Yeah, in our mastermind, we have little mini mastermind groups. They're like accountability groups, and I formed one just recently, we just had our first meeting on Monday, where we just get together for an hour, 6 or 7 of us, and talk about. It's for anybody that's real. It's marketing in or for real estate, whether for their own business or for client work, whatever. It doesn't matter. And yeah, it's pretty good because, as we've talked about many times, that's how we got together at Semantic Mastery. My partners and I, from basically a weekly accountability group that I had formed way back in, I think, 2012 or something like that. And that's how we all came together. And so I know there's always opportunity. Things like that can happen in mastermind groups. And so there's the value of joining a larger mastermind, like what the Semantic Mastery Mastermind is, but then it's also benefits to get in the smaller mini masterminds because it's a much more intimate setting, where a lot of ideas can exchange and ideas can flourish. You know what I mean? And so I think there's always opportunity in those small mastermind groups like that. So I'm hoping that something will come of ours as well.
Nice. All right, Hernan didn't want to join us, but I guess he decided to show up. So what's up, man?
Good, man. I mean, it was cold outside, so thank you guys for letting me in. I appreciate that. It was raining, it was pouring, so I was in the door like, open up, help. No, it's good, man. It's good to be here. I'm really excited for what's happening. The future of Semantic Mastery. We have some good stuff cooking, so I'm really excited for what's coming up for Semantic Mastery for MGYB. So stay tuned. We're supposed to have a guest today that's going to be next week as well. So that's going to be pretty awesome. And, I'm excited overall. So thank you guys for joining.
Yeah. Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing good here. You even put up my Christmas tree already here.
That's awesome. I like it. That's my
Just
style,
to keep
man.
me sane.
That speaks to my heart. That's the right size, the right amount of cleanup involved. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man, like straight out of the box, man, like perfect. No work.
Good deal.
So yeah, otherwise than that, doing good. Developments are in full progress. So like exciting times are coming.
Nice. Let's see. And I just wanted to share. So I posted, I know Bradley saw it. We talk about video all the time. We talk about, using video onboarding. We have an entire course Bradley put together on that. If you haven't seen it, just go look up video lead gen system. But I shared something because I had to log into Bonjoro, which I use to send people after they contact me and they hit my calendar booking form. And it was just great to see that. It's just another confirmation. So this is before we've talked face-to-face. And over the last 90 days, I had an 89% open rate, 100% watched the video, and 42% replied. And I'm not even asking for a reply. I'm just saying, if you have anything else you want to share with me, it's just such a great tool in any way, shape, or form. You can automate it using Bonjoro. You can use Loom. You can use templates. But I think that I put it in the post there, but I interviewed the founder of Bonjoro, and what he said was automate the process, not the relationship. And I love that because everything about this I do is automated except that one part. And all I have to do is press a button. I get to record a personalized video that I actually enjoy. I kind of have fun. I'll like walk around the kitchen and stuff and like say hi to people. And then I press another button and I'm done. And then, it builds that trust, and it shows people you're a real person. You actually care enough to send them the video. And it doesn't matter to them that it took 20 seconds, right? It's that you took the time to do it. So
That's right.
yeah, really cool tool. And, like I said, if you don't want to pay for it, just use Loom, something like that. And it's just a real game changer for you, especially if you get in that habit of staying behind the computer screen and you're not, showing your face. You're not used to talking to people face to face. Make sure, you're putting yourself out there and kind of starting to build that trust.
Yeah, man.
All right. Also, real quick, I wanted to talk about it just because it's near and dear to me. I've been looking into a lot more AI stuff as things move forward. And so with the mastermind members, the ones who are interested, I think we have 10 or 12 people signed up already. I'm going to be talking to them about some tools that are incorporating some AI or not. So I'm going to be diving into that and sharing with them kind of what I'm seeing for things like content briefs for copy, content briefs for blog posts, getting rough drafts written automatically. And then things like PPC and copy headlines, being able to generate that stuff really quick. So we're going to be talking about that on Friday in the mastermind. And then like Bradley was talking about his group and with the real estate. So we do all this smaller stuff within the larger mastermind. If you want to find out more about that, you can head over to mastermind.semanticmastery.com. And if you're new to Semantic Mastery, first of all, thanks for being here today. If you're wondering about some of the stuff we're talking about, the mastermind, or you hear us talking about the SEO Shield or syndication networks, head over to the SEO Shield.com. That's the word the SEO Shield.com. grab that. That'll explain a lot of it. Beyond that, if you want to have kind of a bigger approach and kind of a more building block list for a bunch of different areas that you'd like to follow for step-by-step processes for SEO, head over to battleplan.semanticmastery.com. We've got our battle plan right there. I already talked about the mastermind. You'll know if you're ready to join that, but if you're ready to grow your digital marketing or physical business and you want to join an experienced community, the mastermind.semanticmastery.com, that's where you want to go. And then mgyb.co, done for you services. We use them. You should use them. End of story. So beyond that, guys, I know we got a lot of questions. Is there anything else we need to let people know about before we get into it? Not. All right.
I think that's it.
Let's do it.
Let's shoot it.
I saw something that I'm going to cover for Justin Hess in just a minute. Yeah, well, we're going to give something away today, I think. All right. First of all, let me get the, let me grab the screen. I was also looking at something else because you mentioned AI, Adam. So I've got something to share that I just came across, was just sent to me via email today. So let me grab the screen. You guys should be seeing my screen, correct?
Got it.
Well,
yeah.
Concerning AI, all right, I've talked about this before. I've been using this company called wordagents.com recently for website content, like page content for local business stuff. And they do a really good job of writing content. You know, I've talked about this on Hump the Hangouts a lot recently, but I like to use long form content instead of creating complex silo structures. I like to use simple silo structure and have long form content for my top of landing page. You know, my landing page is essentially the top of silo, but it covers a lot of what I would have used as supporting articles or subcategories in a complex silo structure. I just add that into long form content as section headers, and in that way I can keep the silo structure simple on the site. It's much easier to manage. It tends to work really well, and so I've been using two different companies for that kind of content. One is called Crowd Content. The other one's called Word Agents. Word Agents is cheaper if you're buying in bulk, right? And so that's what I've been doing more recently, is buying, you know, like 10,000 words at a time, costs $800. So it's 8 cents per word. But if I was to buy those types of articles from like Crowd Content and hire 4-star writers, which is, you know, the top of the line writers, it's 12 cents per word, and there's no discount for more words. So essentially it's a significant discount, 25% discount, or 30%, 33% discount if I go with Word Agents. So anyway, I just got this email today from them talking about SEO content optimization add-on. And what's really cool is, you know, Adam was just mentioning AI. Well, I started using phrase.io, I don't know, a couple of months ago now, to optimize content. So existing content that I already have on sites, analyzing it with the phrase.io app, and then adding more to it, right? So rewording things, squeezing additional keywords in that phrase.io is determined or deemed are relevant, you know, and it's a really cool tool. And phrase.io is one of several apps that have similar functionality, like Surfer SEO, Market Muse, which I've not seen, or ClearScope, but there's more coming soon. And my point is that with wordagents.com, this is not an affiliate link, guys. I'm just sharing it with you because Adam mentioned AI stuff, and they will actually now use the tools that they have available, or that they'll, you know, that they say that they can optimize your content with as part of their writing process. So what's really cool is in just the past couple of months since I've started using Phrase, I've purchased long form content from Word Agents. And then once I get it back, I haven't even trained a VA to use Phrase yet, because I was learning it myself. So I would go in and actually spend, you know, an hour optimizing a piece of content that was sent to me or delivered from Word Agents. So what's really cool is now, instead of me having to do that, I can actually just, now it uses like 50% credit. So for example, for a 2,000 word article, you would have to use 3,000 words of your word, you know, your word bank, so to speak, in order to have them apply one of these apps to the content writing. But, you know, hey, that's a lot of time that it will save me from having to do it, or even having to train a VA how to use the Phrase app. That would take a lot of time, right? So my point is, it's just going to make it a lot easier on me, since I was already using Word Agents. for me to just spend a little bit more and have them optimize the content with the phrase.io app. And again, there's more tools coming soon. So I wanted to point that out, guys. I'm quite happy with the work that I've gotten from Word Agents. And I think I'm going to like it even better now that I don't have to go in and finish optimizing it once I get the delivery from them.
That's really nice. I might have to include that, or I'll at least mention it, Bradley, on mine, because I know with MarketMuse, something they're doing is offering, they've already done it with people where you could like tie it to your website, you get the content recommendations, blah, blah, blah. But then they would create a brief for you instead of like in Phrase where you have to go in and kind of manually do it. And so now they're kind of using their own algorithms to do that based on your own writing. So you could basically order it and then have it that brief and then have the brief compiled for you and then have it written there. So really starting to solidify or streamline this process.
Very cool. All right, so now we can get into questions, and then there's something that I might have to wait until Marco's answering one of these questions for me to pause the screen and whip something up to give to Justin here in a minute, and the rest of you on the webinar today will appreciate this as well. We've got new applets available that you guys can use to import into your free accounts. So I just have to put it in a clean format, but it's great because it's going to make the ability to use free ifttt accounts for syndication networks so much easier. So I'll share that with you guys here in a few minutes if I can get it situated before at some point during today's webinar. So all right, first question up is Joel. He says, is there any update for the Autoblog content CMS thing that was mentioned in a previous webinar? If not, is there an alternative? There's no update just yet because it's still in beta. In fact, I even have that open in my browser right now because I was going through some of the training videos and I'm trying to get set up and start testing it with myself. I've got a project that's perfect for it, but no, it's still in beta. We can't really do anything now. Adam, didn't we have a landing page somewhere that we could send people to get on the waiting list for Condis?
That's a good question. Let me take a look. It's been long enough now. I can't recall, but let me take a look.
I think you did. I think you whipped it up like during a Hump Day Hangouts a few weeks ago.
That makes sense. Let me take a look.
Yeah. So that's for the syndicating, like it's called Condis, but it's really awesome. And again, it's still in beta, guys. So no, it's not available yet. We'll let you know as soon as it is. Plus, you can get on the waiting list when Adam drops the opt-in page for that. Okay. It's Marco. You got any comments on that? Because I know you've started playing with it a little bit.
Yeah, I've got a couple of sites up. It looks pretty good. But it's in beta. I can't really say anything until Jeremy's ready to go.
Okay, cool. Also, when it comes to cocitation feeds, where else can we embed the buzzboost embed code other than the gsite and the ID page? Thanks, you guys are legends. Thanks, Joel. I haven't used it anywhere other than that. You could embed the buzzboost embed code using our embed gigs at MGYB, for example. That would help because then you're embedding your RSS cocitation feed in relevant content on hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands of sites, right? So, that's something I've not even tried that. I've not even tested that, but it's really interesting because not all of my ID pages have that built into them where we build a cocitation super feed with Rank Feeder, which is Lisa Allen's product. But on the sites that I do, it's really interesting. I've got several lead gen assets that are strictly lead gen assets. They don't really have a bigger brand associated with them or anything else. And every one of those that I have that buzzboost, and I just noticed this week, which is why this is a timely question. I've noticed that every one of those, even ones that I haven't touched because they were really for like development purposes, like I'd set up some GMBs for testing and things like that, they're all ranking and generating leads, and some of them aren't even monetized. Like, in other words, I don't even have a lead buyer for some of them. And I just was noticing that every one of them that I was looking at this week had that. So I'm thinking about creating a process and then having one of my VAs go through and actually do that for all of my lead gen assets. I can't swear that was why those other locations are still ranking, but some of these are like 2 years old, never fucking touched them, never done any work, no press releases, no nothing. And yet they're still in the 3-pack, like 2 years later with no additional work being done other than you know, the ID page is continually updating from the buzzboost feed that's in there. So anyways, I don't know of anywhere else that you would embed that. Maybe Marco has some ideas, but using the embed gigs and MGYB might be something worth testing.
Anywhere where you can answer the code. Actually, access the code. You got access to the code, you can insert an iframe. I mean, that's literally anywhere where you can access the code and get an iframe. Again, you just said it. Hired Tedia through mgyb.co for an embed run, plus link building, plus indexing, and you're good to go. I mean, that's literally all you need, because you're going to get iframes wherever Tedia can get an iframe, and you're going to get links into it. You're going to do that indexing gig, and it's all relevant. And dude, right now iframes are magic. They've always been really good, but for some reason, every time Google comes in hard and then they start rolling back the update, for some reason, old school shit like just kind of stays, and it powers up even more. It's really interesting. You guys got to, don't worry so much about Google updates, but look at the result after the update. Look at the data and see what's actually working, and you'll see that old school shit is really getting power right now.
Yeah, it's cyclical, right? I mean, it seems like there's always certain fundamental strategies that work better sometimes than others, but then they come back and they come back stronger. So it's kind of like cyclical, and I've noticed that over the years as well. So, okay, the next question says, saw a video on another SEO podcast where someone mentioned building out satellite sites for an ecom site according to Network Empire. Do you guys still build out automated sites around the money site? If so, what are the benefits of the approach? Well, yes and no. I mean, the syndication network they're all automated sites, right? So, I mean, think about that. The syndication network are automated sites. We publish content to the blog, the money site, and then it reposts or publishes out to all of our syndication network properties. So that's kind of automated content. It's all branded content from the original source, which would be our blog or a money site. So yes, in that respect, we do. Also, as we were just mentioning earlier today, we're working on testing an app for creating like essentially auto blog sites and networks of auto blog sites that we have extreme amount of control over, and and that's with that new app that we're beta testing right now called Condes. Again, Adam might be dropping a sign up or an opt-in link for that so that you can be on the notification list when it's available. But yeah, so I mean, we're testing with that too. But outside of that, I know you can still do it and still produce results that way. There's a number of people out there that teach that method. Again, besides the syndication network and the gsite, I'm not really doing and Press Advantage, because I'm publishing a ton of content through Press Advantage for each project. Outside of that, no, I'm not doing it. But will it still work? Yeah, that's a method that can absolutely work. Marco, do you want to comment on that?
No, because I don't use satellites. I use the gsite. I power up the gsite and drive stack, adding the extensions. That's what our mgyb.co extension gig is for. I like to power that up and transfer the power directly to the money site our way. I think that we get a whole lot more power when we do it that way than building out these satellite websites. Plus, if it's a gsite and drive stack, all bets are off, right? Because we're like, the way that the algorithm is applied, the way the penalties and everything else, if you're on a TLD, it's applied differently. We've seen it time and again where Google simply won't penalize itself. We've seen it. Oh, that's why we're in there. Whereas if you go and you do this on a mini site and I'll build these satellites, kind of like an old school private blog network, private meaning that it's yours, and a blog network because you're going to publish content to them and add a link to your website, and meaning that you're not going to go and then sell links to your PBN, because then it's no longer private, then it's public, right? So if you're going to go through all that trouble, I'd rather just power up my gsite and drive stacks, and if I need to, build the gsite and drive stack satellite. That's how I do it. Now you're welcome to try it either way. I think my way works perfectly well.
There you go. I've got the screen paused briefly while I'm trying to format something, but we can move on to the next one and I'll come back. Stand by 1 minute, guys. Okay, I'll come back to it. All right. So the next question is from Randy. He says, howdy folks, when dealing with clients that have a low budget for content, what would you recommend for keeping the money site or GMB fresh with updated content? Worried about Panda if I import RSS feeds directly into blog posts. Yeah, I don't like doing that either, because then you're auto populating content on your money site with other people's content. And I don't like to do that. We talk about using curated content, Randy, all the time, because that is a very inexpensive way to produce content, highly relevant content, and also create cocitation using other people's content. It's very efficient, very inexpensive. Again, you can train VAs with our method. It's called Content Kingpin. If you want to go check it out, that's the same method that I've been using, and I trained bloggers for all my content needs for my clients and GMB posts and everything else using curated content. And again, Content Kingpin teaches that method. It was designed specifically to teach somebody how to do that. So for example, you could hire a VA from the Philippines, pay them $3 or $4 an hour or whatever you want to pay on a per post basis, which is what I prefer to do. That's very inexpensive because they can very quickly create relevant content by curating other people's content. And that's different than just, because again, you're still pulling in other people's content that you're going to cite the source. So you need to link back to the source of the content that's been curated. So for, let's say you use 3 different pieces of content in a curated post, right? So that would be like, you might cite 2 different articles and a YouTube video or a slide deck or an audio file, or something like that. Or just 3 different pieces of, article content. And then for each one of the snippets that you curate into that post, you would link back to the original source, right? Because you want to give credit, you want to give attribution or cite the original source, which is fine because I typically no follow those links anyways, but it's that way you have control over what is being posted on your money site, as well as you create unique content, even if it's curated snippets of other people's already published content, because you inject commentary in at the top, right? There's an opening paragraph. Then there's usually a little bit of content commentary added between each piece of curated content. And then there's a conclusion paragraph, which could just be a couple of sentences. And it's typically, that's where a call to action would go anyways. So it's very efficient and quick way to develop highly relevant content, create co-citation because you're outbound linking to relevant content, and a very, very quick way to do it. That said, outside of doing curated content for money site posts, which can then be repurposed as GMB posts, right? So again, you're getting a whole lot of traction from one piece of content. The other way that you could do it is, like, if you don't have a really big budget, or your client doesn't have a big budget for content, even enough, which you should, for curated content, because it's very inexpensive if it's done correctly. But the other thing would be just to focus on the GMB posts, right? Make sure that you have on page on the website, the money site done well. And then you could focus on just doing GMB posts, because those are very inexpensive as well. They're much shorter form type content, right? It's 1,500 characters max in a GMB post. So again, I would recommend that you try to work out curated content for the money site, which can then be repurposed as GMB posts as well. It's going to populate your syndication network, all of that. But if you don't even have a budget for that, first of all, get higher paying clients. But second of all, you can always focus in on GMB posts if it's for local stuff, and get some significant traction that way. And that's rather inexpensive as well. Marco, you want to comment on that?
I'm going to second that. Get better paying clients who can handle the content budget also. 1. 2, get such fantastic results for your clients that you can charge them more, so that you can start producing better content, so that you can then charge them more. Make that attendant then on you. I am going to get your results. When I give them the pitch that I give them, it's going to take me about 90 days to get your results. You're going to see the results. At the end of those 90 days, we're going to discuss what the new budget will be, what it's going to cost to keep me producing these results. And 9 out of 10, it's going to work. 9 out of 10, the guy's going, sure, 90 days. And after those 90 days, when they see the results that you can get for them, you better be able to get results. 9 out of 10, they're going to close, and they're going to say, yeah, please, let's go on the monthly. How much is it? And they're not going to blink when you hit them. I hit them hard, man. I hit them hard. But then the results that I'm giving them justifies them saying yes. That's the whole point. When you make it attendant on you rather than on what the client is giving you, then you can pretty much start setting your own prices. And that's how you get better clients, because like people know each other. Jordan is really good about this. Like the doctors that he works with, they know one another and they talk to one another. And since they're in different geographical areas, like they're all talking, oh, I got this guy. And then when you get that good, the word of mouth runs along. And now if you're niching down like Bradley recommends, or if you don't like I do, because if you got enough money to pay me to get your results, I'm going to figure out how to get your results. The niche is irrelevant because, again, I'm going to quote Jordan, I know Google. And since I know Google, I know how I'm going to get this person results, regardless of where we're going. So there's many different ways that you can do this, focusing on, this is the number one thing, on the results that you can get so that you can then charge more, because now you understand what it is that you're worth, and then you're not going to take these low budget people who don't even have money for how is it? We're ifttt, we're syndication, and we're into strengthening your tier one branded through all of this. How in the world are you going to be able to do this if you don't have a content budget, or if it's minuscule, so that maybe you blog once a month, or maybe you do a post every other week, which is not going to do anything for you.
Right on. All right, next question. Let's see if I can find it. Damn, we got a lot of questions today. Oh, I scrolled too far, that's why. Hold on, I'm trying to get back to where we were.
We're at the tag silo structure.
There we go.
Question.
There we go. Okay, kook. Okay, when using a tag silo structure, do you index or de-index the tag or category landing pages? Or do you worry about those tag or category landing pages ranking for your target keywords? All it depends. It really is. It's going to depend. There's a lot of things that you can do. First of all, with a typical silo structure for like local business type stuff, especially, I usually redirect the category URLs to the top level landing page. So remember, when you're creating a silo, right? You create your landing pages, and then you create corresponding categories for your landing pages. For a simple silo structure, that's it, right? You've got top level categories, and then you've got your pages, and then everything else is going to be posts, right? Because posts are how you add depth to a simple silo structure. If you were doing a complex silo structure, then you would have categories, top level categories, and then subcategories, and they would have corresponding pages and child pages. Does that make sense? And then posts would go, but again, I always try to use simple silo structure at almost always now. So for category URLs, the category itself, I like to redirect the category URL to the top level landing page. It's corresponding landing page. Does that make sense? And that's only because typically, for like local business services and stuff, people aren't going to be looking for posts in a particular category because they're not there to consume content. They're there to contact the local business to provide them a product or service, right? So again, it's not like a content-based website. We use content to help it to rank, but people aren't usually on a local business website to read through, articles in a particular category. So that's why I don't care about having a category index page, like a blog roll page for that category. It's not necessary, right? So why not allow the taxonomy structure in WordPress to kind of flow the page rank up to that top level landing page by redirecting that category URL to the landing page. So that covers categories. When it comes to tags, it depends, once again, on what it is that you're doing. I usually leave them to index, the tag pages to index, but you can also think about this, and I can't get too deep into this, guys. Again, this is a free form. This is what we talk about in like Heavy Hitter Club or the Mastermind, but you can canonicalize tag pages. I usually leave them in index anyways, but then you can canonicalize tag pages to their corresponding, landing pages if you have them. Or what I like to do is, again, create the the silo landing pages and top level categories. That's all topically, the categories are topic based, right? And then I do tag silos for location silos or geographic silos. And so what I do is I have my VA who does my blogger. She writes blog posts that are optimized for a particular keyword plus a city, right? And so that blog post becomes a landing page itself. And then what we do is we canonicalize the tag, the corresponding tag to that particular page, so that we have essentially have two link building targets, right? We have the tag page, and then we have the landing page, which in this case would be a blog post. Both of those can become link building targets. But what I like about using tags specifically is because of the stuff that we can do on the gsite, right? We talk about theme mirroring and all that kind of stuff all the time. And with tag pages, you can do some really cool things by embedding the tag page into gsite. Create a page on the gsite optimized for the term that you're trying to rank for, and then you embed a tag page into there, and that becomes a link building target as well that can funnel or pass juice to all of the posts that have that or that share that tag, if that makes sense. So it really depends. I mean, again, it really depends on what it is that you're doing. I can't give you a solid answer because it's going to depend on the project. I typically will leave my tag pages to index, but then I use canonicals very strategically, if that makes sense. Does anybody want to comment on that?
Oh, like anything on the web, right? It's always depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
This isn't an easy question to answer because there's variables on how you're using your tags and your categories.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. So it's one of those kind of like standard SEO answers, which is it depends, because it really depends on what it is that you're trying to do. There's just so many things that you can do when you're using like a dual silo structure on a site. And what I mean by that is using the traditional silo with categories. And then there's the tag silo, which I use specifically for location-based silos now. So I consider that like two types of silos on the site, right? You have topical silos, which are the traditional silo structure. Then I use tag silos, which are for location silos, essentially. But it's really cool because you can do a lot of cool things with it. It's a good question, though. Justin says, hey, guys, hoping you have been able to hear back from someone at ifttt about the wonkiness that's been going on since the Pro upgrade. My Pro accounts are not showing any of the applets I create, so I can't share them to my other Pro accounts. And today I noticed the various accounts of yours and some others I was using applets from have changed to this user hasn't created applets to, so I don't know what to do anymore. Okay, as we've answered this question a bunch of times, Justin, even with a free account, you can enable applets. You just have to find them, right? But so you go to the Explore tab, you can search, like the standard applet titles or names that we've used over the years. You can locate, there's a handful of them that I know to be ours. You can tell by the applet creator, the username essentially. Stephen R. Reynolds is one of them. Vernon E. Dunn's another one. I've got a bunch of them. How to SEO is another one. There's a bunch of them that we've created over the years that are in the kind of library, applet library under the Explore tab that you can locate and turn them on. If you have ifttt accounts where you had created the applets, but you let it go, as you never subscribed as a Pro subscriber. Let's say you had 15 applets in an account and you allowed it to go to the free plan beyond the date where you could subscribe as a Pro account, then it automatically turns off or archives all but 3 applets, right? So, but if you just used somebody else's applet and turned it on, then it will allow you to turn them all on. Does that make sense? But it will only allow you to keep 3 that you've created in an account. So what I'm saying is if you had an account that you set up and it's now on the free tier instead of a Pro tier, and you had created all 15 applets in this example, then it will only allow you to keep 3 of them on. The other 12 are going to be archived, and it won't allow you to turn them on. You can go to the Explore tab and find the other applets that somebody else created that were in the library of applets, and then turn them back on, enable them, and then swap out, obviously, add your own RSS feed or whatever. However, I'm going to share this with you guys now, and I think it's still on my clipboard. Well, I already posted it to @you, Justin, but I'm just going to post it here as well. We have a Pro account, and by the way, just to share this with you guys on how to create applets in a Pro account so that you can share them between other accounts. You do that if you go into ifttt and you click your profile icon in the top right corner, you'll see a drop down that says platform, or there's an item in the drop down called platform. Click through to that. Then you have to set your user account up as a service So, and I'm not going to show you guys how to do all that. I had to learn it myself in the last 2 weeks, but there's help files and everything else. But you've got your username for that ifttt account. It has to be a pro account. But if you have a pro account, you can create your username as a service or add it as a service. And then from there, you create applets. These are the applets right here that I've created with the pro account. You guys have access to this now. It's in the comments. But for example, if I were, I don't know if I can click through. Oh, I'm probably logged into one of my accounts, but let's just see. Yeah, I am. So if you can see, these are now saying by Semantic Mastery. And this is blog RSS repost to Blogger. And look, even if I'm not logged in, if I go over here to a fresh Firefox installation, I can now see these applets. Whereas before you couldn't, right? There was no way to share applets anymore, but now because I've created all of these applets under our pro account, you have to do it in platform.ifttt.com. And you have to, again, you have to set your pro account up as a service, and then you can start creating applets. And that's what I've done here. And so these applets are now the new updated applets that will allow you guys to import them directly from this sheet into your account. All you got to do is copy the URL, paste and go in your address bar when you're logged into your account. And now you can enable these applets. And these have all been coded up to today's standards. And by the way, attribution has been coded into the blog syndication applets now, so that you don't need to have a attribution inserter plugin in your RSS feed. So in other words, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, we used to just use the code inserter from Yoast or from our own RSS plugin that we developed to create that attribution link. Like this post was first published on, whatever. And that would automatically insert that like line of that attribution link at the bottom of every post in the RSS feed. But because Yoast is such a piece of shit, and we're not in the plugin game or the plugin development business, and so we don't even really want to continue supporting the one that we created. I just recreated all the applets with attribution already built in, so you don't need that. You don't need that anymore. By the way, I also found out that all-in-one SEO Pack plugin does also have an attribution module built into it, and I think Jeffrey Smith's in the has an RSS module built into it as well. That's the SEO Ultimate Pro, which is what we recommend for SEO plugin. But what I'm saying is you don't need any of that anymore because they're built directly into here. Okay. Now, some of these may change or be edited slightly because I haven't completed testing all of the YouTube applets yet. These have all been tested. So these may change, but the URL is not going to change. So even if I update the applets, guys, they're not going to change. The URL should not change. Okay. So we're in the process of updating Syndication Academy. We're going to be relaunching that as version 3, updated for 2021, essentially, because we probably won't launch it before beginning of next year. But just know that we have got a lot of stuff cooking for the new Syndication Academy, guys. And right here are the applets that I just created within the last week and a half or so. Okay. And again, you guys have access to this now. The URL is semanticmastery.com/new-ifttt. That'll take you to this page here. Do not ask to edit this page. Go to File and then go to Make a Copy and copy that into your Drive account, and then or download it as a CSV or whatever you want. But if you ask to edit this, I'm going to deny it. Okay, so don't ask. Anybody want to comment on that?
That was perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, Ideas 111 says, I purchased your SEO Power Shield and have some questions as to the best structure. My client has several web properties that would be best if they would be branded as one entity using her name. The business recently changed structure with the new business name being her name, so this works well. Several of these sites are old and need to be replaced with better siloed sites. Is it effective to build the SEO Power Shield and include these old properties, siloing the information in the shield, and then add information from the new site as it is completed? I don't know. I almost need a diagram for this. I'm trying to visualize what you're telling me in your head, I'm trying to visualize in my head what you're telling me, and I'm having difficulty. Also, I need to promote one of their new sites immediately as they are opening several other locations just for IB therapy and nutrition. Would this get a separate SEO Shield or just a separate syndication network? Thank you. Marco, this seems like a bit of a complicated question, and without all the details, I don't know if I could give a proper answer. Were you able to interpret this well?
No, it's not something that would be answered here. This is requiring just a lot of what I would consider consultation time. It's not something that we do on Hump Day. We don't answer anything this intricate because this requires just a whole lot of different things. And then we have to go look at it and see which one would be the best way to answer it, right?
Yeah.
And how would we approach this? This requires, it's not something that I can answer cold.
Yeah. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, just from rereading it while you were talking, I mean, if just on a very high level, if there's multiple websites that should be brought under one brand, then I would almost say, why not create one website under that, parent or master brand, and then set up silos on that website, and then, basically import the content from the existing individual sites into the new site, and then do redirects from the old sites. To me, it makes a mess. If you've got a bunch of different websites out there that were separate websites, but now you want to bring them all under one entity, if they're related and it makes sense, then absolutely you can. But what I would suggest is housing them all under one domain, right? And you could just repurpose the old content, just so you set up proper silo structure on the new branded domain, even if it's her name or whatever, it doesn't matter. And then you would set up silos, which would have been each of the individual sites. You bring that content in, it can be literally copy paste to bring that content in. And then you would set up redirects from the old domains to the new section, the corresponding pages on the site, that kind of stuff, so that you're pushing all of that relevancy to that one domain, that one entity. But then there's a lot of schema stuff that could be done there that would really need to be done to combine all that into one entity. Also the SEO, or excuse me, the SEO Shield, that could all be mirrored once that original website, the main branded entity website, would be built out correctly and formatted correctly. Like all of that could be duplicated or mirrored into the SEO Shield. But again, without knowing like all the different pieces and stuff, like, does it make sense to mix them all under one entity or not? And only you can answer that. So I agree with Marco. This is one of those questions that more context is needed, and probably going to need more, more consultation from somebody. So that would be like a great question for the Semantic Mastery Mastermind. And I don't know if you guys in Heavy Hitter are doing like audits and stuff, but that would be a really good question for the mastermind. So sorry I couldn't give you a better answer for that.
No, this is something, I mean, we've done it. We did it for Pete Hogg and in my Ask Marco Anything webinars. I'll even go into that, right? But not here, because this requires me actually going and looking at everything and seeing how I would put it together for the questions that he's asking. It's not something that you can just fly off the cuff on and say, yeah, do this and this and this.
Yeah.
Because it might change, like the name change. And so now what do we do? What do we do with the old property? I have to look at them. How much value is there in them? And how much change? There's just so much. I can't answer it.
Yeah, I agree. It's a complicated question with very little information, which I know it'd be hard to, honestly, if you posted a great big wall of text trying to explain all this stuff, we wouldn't even cover it anyways. So, again, that's more for one of our paid groups. I tried to give you somewhat of an answer, but I know that probably didn't suffice. And for that, I'm sorry. Next question. Hello, guys. I got my battle plan 2 weeks ago and closed 2 new clients here in the UK to build an e-commerce website for each of them with monthly SEO. Look at that, guys. Got his battle plan 2 weeks ago and closed 2 clients in 2 weeks. That's strong. So congratulations. So I plan to purchase your keyword research as the first step for each. Can you tell me what are the other products I need to purchase from your arsenal of services, and in what order am I to purchase them? One of the ecom websites is in the fashion niche, specifically children's custom clothing, and the other is in selling hair products, mostly targeting women's hair. Both are located here in London, England. Yeah, well, if you've got the SEO battle plan, that's like, basically the roadmap. The other thing I would say is, as Adam mentioned at the beginning of today's Hump Day Hangout, is go to theseoshield.com. That's THE SEO Shield.com, and sign up for that free training. And that'll take you through the SEO Shield training. I think it's on a 4-day schedule. So you get another lesson every day that kind of walks you through the different components of the SEO Shield. And that's really what we would suggest is get the keyword research first. And once you have that, then go order an SEO Power Shield for each client, right? Because that includes all of our, our proprietary methods, our building blocks, our foundations of, the foundational stuff that we do, which is the syndication network, the RYS drive stack plus gsite, the ID page, and press advantage organization page, all of that combined. So it's basically, that's why we created the SEO Shield to begin with, was because instead of ordering individual components, you get it all in one bundle. It's a little bit less expensive, and it's also less work on your end to place the orders in separate pieces or at separate times. So and plus we get it a little bit faster that way too. You get it delivered a little bit faster. So again, go through the battle plan. If you haven't already, it sounds like you have, go to SEOshield.com, opt in for that. It's free. You'll go through that training. And then what I would suggest is after the keyword research has been delivered, then you order the SEO Power Shield for each client. Comments on that?
SEO Power Shield and link building. Get that initial link building for the brand. Solidify the brand. Then you start looking at what your targets are. You need the data. That's what the initial run is for.
That's right. That's right. Not only that, but when you order the SEO Power Shield, on the thank you page, there's an opportunity to get link building for that Power Shield at a discounted rate. It's like the OTO for link building. So that's a really good opportunity to purchase the links for that too. So once it's built, it'll immediately go to link building team to have links built to it. So that helps to solidify all of that, as Marco said. Okay, so I have another client from the British Virgin Islands who I closed yesterday to build an events planning site for her in the British Virgin Islands. There is not much competition in that niche, so I would need to purchase all of your service. There is not much competition in that niche, so would I need to purchase all of your services? And if not, what would you recommend? Well, I don't recommend ever doing anything less than the SEO Power Shield for a project period. Like, in my opinion, that's the bare minimum. It covers all of our, if it's not very competitive, when you order once you have an SEO Power Shield in place, that means that it will probably require very little off-page work in order to get it, like off-page, essentially link building and embed gigs, that type of stuff, for you to be able to get results. I can't say it won't take you any because I don't know, but it will probably take very little. So, but I wouldn't recommend shortcutting. Again, as I mentioned before, guys, that's like our foundational stuff. The SEO Shield is the foundation of everything that we do. It used to just be syndication networks, but over the years, it's grown into all of what all of the components that make up the SEO Power Shield. So I would recommend that being like your floor, right? Your basement. Like you build that first, and then from there, you only do the off-page as needed, or content marketing and off-page SEO as needed. Once you get your desired results, you can kind of slow it down a little bit. So that's what I would recommend. Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Robert says, thank you, SM team. Best part of Wednesday is Hump Day Hangouts. Thank you. I'm limited on creating additional Gmail accounts and their verification process. What options are safe to get the SMS PIN verification completed? I don't know, because I don't go through that process anymore. I have somebody that I buy accounts from now when I need them. I don't know if he's got a landing page or not, but if you pause for a minute, you guys have any ideas? Because I know I don't create my own accounts anymore at all. Does anybody do that here?
Negative.
All right, stand by. I'm going to pause the screen just for a moment while I look up the email. I don't think he's got a landing page for this, but you can email this gentleman and tell him. Stand by. I'm looking just to see. I might have an email. No, I have an email, but I'm sorry. I was looking for a landing page. All right. His name is Miles Chad. I'm grabbing the email now. Hold on. I'm going to unpause the screen just a moment, guys. Okay. So I'm going to @Robert. Contact Miles Chad for purchasing accounts. And he does like a bunch of Web2 stuff, Twitter accounts, Gmail accounts. He does aged accounts, new accounts, phone verified stuff. He gives you the phone number that he verified them with. These accounts are really good accounts, guys. I've used account providers over the years, and this guy's Miles Chad. He's really, really good about replying via email. Like communication's really good. He's prompt. The accounts are good. I've never had any problems with the accounts. He'll replace them if there is a problem. Like you have to ask him about what the time limit is that he will replace them. But I know, like, if I get a new fresh batch of accounts from him, and during the process of, binding them to my IP or to, a proxy or whatever it is that I'm doing, if I have any trouble and I get locked out of the account, he'll replace them. I'm not talking about months down the road, but when I first get them, he does. So again, contact him, tell him I sent you. I just actually purchased some Twitter accounts. And I don't use Twitter much, but I purchased some Twitter accounts from him a few weeks ago, like literally about 3 weeks ago. So I know he's still selling accounts. I would contact him, tell him I referred you. Okay. Let's see. Chris, move your camera down unless you're naked. Yeah, Chris does the pantsless. He's not here to defend himself.
Oh my.
Pavlo, hey guys, question. Press release with keyword anchor text will be helpful to improve website entity. I'm confused regarding this topic. That's why I decided to ask you without guessing. Thanks a lot. You can use, look, the short answer, and that's I'm only going to be able to give you the short answer. No, don't use keyword anchor text. You can use branded anchor text to link back to your website through a press release. That's okay. I prefer naked URLs or brand anchors when linking directly back to the money site. Does that make sense? I try not, unless I've got like a particular page on my site that has a really robust link profile and I can afford, or I can, use keyword anchors at that point, then that's okay. But only if you know what you're doing. I don't recommend it. If you don't know what you're doing, just use naked URLs or brand anchors if you're going to link directly to your money site from a press release. It's the way that's the simple short answer. Anybody else want to comment on that?
Yeah, because Jeremy has been so good about giving us access or allowing us to power up our entity. We already do a really good job of that. Yes, it will improve if you're going entity for entity. Your main entity, and you really need to know. You really need to know what you're doing if you're doing this. You really need to know it. It's not something that you can just go, okay, let me take a text anchor and send, however many links it is. Because then, you can get into a whole lot of trouble with all of those links coming to your website, right? Through one keyword anchor text. That's trouble, man. That's if you don't have everything set up right to receive that anchor text link, you're in trouble. So rather than that, the schema, the iframe, everything that you can do on that press release will help you overall, especially with that add ID page and adding the press advantage media page, just everything that we do with add ID.
Agreed. Okay, so I think we'll probably only get to the last two here, Olaf and then Bibi. And then I think we got to wrap it up, guys, because we're almost at the 5 o'clock hour. So Olaf says, hello there. How can I make Google folders public to the web and indexable? We can't share that here. You can still do it. There's absolutely. And in fact, Syndication Academy update, when that comes out, which again will probably be in the first part of next year, so 2021, there will likely be something available there that will show you how to do it or give you a resource that will make give you the ability to make folders public. And also we may be able to provide that in MGYB very, very soon, like in a couple of weeks, maybe. We're going to have a meeting about it next week. So there's a very good chance that we can provide that as a service inside of MGYB. Can't share it with you here because that was something that we shared, Marcus shared in a paid setting. So it wouldn't be right for me to share that here. But well, yes,
we've been using that. We've been using that method in MGYB, and that's something that I'm going to give away.
Right.
Because when Google took that away, I had to go and spend time on that to figure out how to do it. So did Rob. We immediately got on that and figured out how to make them public again. Plus, we had already been doing it in the DriveStack and gsite. We can still do it to this day. The best way to make one public is to go and get a DriveStack and gsite from MGYB. We'll do it for you. Save all that time and effort.
Yeah, and like I said, you can absolutely still do it. There's no question, and that's probably going to be something that we have as a service inside of MGYB to make files and/or folders public. But we're gonna talk about that next week. So come back with that question again. I'm sorry I couldn't share with the method here, guys, but there are some things that just have to be behind closed doors. This is a free public forum, so certain things we can't share, and hopefully you understand that. You can come join one of our paid groups though and find out all off. So BB says, hey guys, thought it was Thursday today. Time flies. Yes, it does. For the questions, I have a post. Okay, I'm going to share. I read this previously, so I'm kind of prepared for this. We'll try to get through this rather quickly. But he says, I have a post that has graph schema with, and he talks about the different types generated by the Yoast plugin. So the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is throw that fucking plugin out. Like, Yoast is a piece of shit. Don't use the Yoast plugin. For schema stuff, like I said, use SEO Ultimate Pro. It's a paid plugin, but it's totally worth it. It has all the different schema types built into it. It's got schema builders directly in the plugin. So like on the post or page editors inside of WordPress, in the SEO Ultimate Pro plugin widget underneath where the text editor is, there you can literally develop any type of schema you want there. And what's great about it is not only can you develop the schema specific to that page or post, but you can always go back and edit or append the schema using the SEO Ultimate Pro plugin, and it will automatically format it correctly. Because if you try to use two different schema types on a page or a post and you don't have them connected properly, called connected schema or connected data or nested schema is another term for it, then it can ambiguate the main entity of the page because you've got two separate schemas on the page. You have to have it connected properly. And so again, like the SEO Ultimate Pro plugin will do that for you automatically if you're using the schema creator and editor that's on the page or post level. Does that make sense? So, and it will automatically append additional schema for like marking up different items, like video object, image object, whatever, review schema, FAQ schema, all of that. So we'll highly recommend that. The Yoast plugin adds so much bloat, so much shitty code. I just highly recommend that you stop using that crappy plugin. Okay. Marco will verify that as well. Also, if you want to create schema without purchasing a plugin, I would recommend a free version is technicalseo.com. Go to technicalseo.com, click on tools and find the schema markup generator. And here you can find all different types of schema that you can mark up. This is what I was using before I started using the schema creator in Jeffrey's plugin or the SEO Ultimate Pro plugin. And lastly, another option would be, but it comes with a monthly subscription fee, but I am using this myself. I like it because you can get some really significant like really complex connected data item type schema with schemaapp.com. This there's a little bit of a learning curve with this, and it has a monthly expense. But if you're going to be doing a lot of structured data stuff, I recommend using this. I know my partners might not use it, but I like this because it automates a lot of stuff for me. I don't have the patience that some of my, like Rob does, to do all this shit in spreadsheets. So I use Schema app. So those are the three things I would suggest. This for individual like items that you want to mark up. This if you want to do significant like connected data items, which is really what you should be doing now anyways, or the SEO Ultimate Pro plugin, which doesn't have a monthly expense. And that's, again, it's a great plugin. It's way better than Yoast. Mark, you want to comment on that?
No, we've run over time.
Yeah. Okay. So no comments. All right, guys. Thanks for being